everybody remember who Betsy DeVos is? If you don't, look her up, and once you see her face, you'll remember who she is. She was the Secretary of Education under Donald Trump. And when she was appointed to that position, there were a lot of people on both sides of the aisle who were against that because Betsy DeVos went to private school. Her kids went to private school. And she founded in the 90s let me get this name right here. Oh, I wrote it down. American Federation for Children, which sounds like a cool organization, but really what it is a private school lobby. This is the type of organization that wants to get rid of the public school system, and they want to completely privatize schools. They whitewash it by saying they believe in the parents' decision to choose what their children learn and everything. Now, when you say that, it sounds like a good idea, but then when you say the government shouldn't have anything to do with schooling, now you're getting into an ideological argument, Whether you think that's right or wrong is besides the point for what I'm about to say. Across the nation, there have been local news segments about high school students who achieve great things or overcome some crazy odds to complete a crazy task, or they're taking a very interesting extracurricular activity that's going to boost their college prospects or what have you. Those news stories were fabricated and given to local news channels for free without the need for credit from a project called Ed Newsfeed. If you go to that website, ednewsfeed.com, you make an account, and they say it is for reporters, journalists, and news organizations, and it is literally a library of video content created like a news segment with pre-written scripts for the news anchors to read. Or you can just play the videos and have the narrator, who's like the fake news anchor, who you never see her face, or at least the one video I watched, you didn't see her face, because you can just play that video and somebody's talking over it, and it sounds and looks very professional and very news-oriented, very classic 6 o'clock news, local news type shit. Well, what they don't tell you in those videos is every single video and every single student who is highlighted in those videos are private school students. Now, there's nothing wrong with going to private school. If you want to put your kid through private school, or you are a private school kid, that there's nothing wrong with that at all. The problem comes when the private school that these videos were produced at are directly affiliated with the American Federation for Children and the Betsy DeVos family, whether it be politically affiliated or financially affiliated, or both. That's never disclosed in any of the videos that they're giving to local news stations for free, without any need for credit. And they say it's because the local news ethos is dying and there's not a whole lot of news going on, or at least not a whole lot that the news stations, the TV broadcast stations want to show you. I mean, if you watch a local news show like the 6 o'clock news, it's, a sports highlight, the weather, traffic, and then maybe like a feel-good story in the community, and then some national news that's like everybody already knows that they're just highlighting. That's the local news nowadays. So there's really nothing interesting, right? Or nothing you can't find on the internet 6 hours before the local news. So this foundation is saying that they're giving the local news something interesting and educationally minded to run. Well, what they don't tell you is that the students in the videos and the accomplishments are real. These are real students with real accomplishments, and I take nothing away from them. I'm going to show a video of a kid who is learning how to become a pilot because he goes to a vocational school that offers a pilot class. Now, I have nothing wrong with vocational schools. I think they're wonderful. I went to one. But the difference is the one that I went to is public, and it's funded by the 5 counties and the 16 school districts that funnel into that school. That's how that's funded, through the tax dollars. How a public school should be funded, right? Or how well, it depends on how you think public schools should be funded, but how it is funded is how this school was funded, the one that I went to. And it gives kids unbelievable opportunities. I would not know how to do any of the shit I'm doing if I didn't go to that school. And I wouldn't have the confidence to do what I'm doing if I didn't go to that school. I am a huge proponent for vocational and different ways of education, right? But when these schools are privatized and they have political and financial ties to the largest private school lobby in the country, who gives millions of dollars to political campaigns to push the private school agenda, and then they're running those stories from those schools on local news programs, that's where we have an issue, because it's complete propaganda, right? They're not telling you that, hey, by the way, this school where we make it look like it's a nice public vocational school somewhere in rural Mississippi, it's actually a private school that is funded by very wealthy, very powerful people who have connections to very high seats in government. That is the issue. The fact that anyone can go on this website and just download these videos is crazy. When you make an account, it's the easiest fucking thing to do ever. Put your first and last name in there. Your phone number is optional. Put your email address and what news organization you work for. I made one up. And I didn't even need to wait. I got a confirmation email, and now I have access to the entire fucking library of scripts and videos. I'm going to play one right now, and then I'll be back for, this is the last segment. So I'm going to play one, and then that'll be that.
Summer college is going to be also flight training. So I'm just going to get further ratings until I'm qualified enough to become a commercial airline pilot.
Not exactly what most kids can say they did with their summer vacation, but Joseph Valek is getting an amazing opportunity as part of a high-flying group of students attending EVIT, a trade school which offers an aviation program to high school students.
It is hard to work in aviation and not make 6 figures.
If that's not enough to inspire these students, Michael Charlton, a graduate of the aviation program who now returns to EVIT to teach periodically, has landed a job in the tower at Sky Harbor.
So the controllers at the top of the tower, they take care of the airport itself, while I work at the bottom of the tower and we control the planes once they leave the ground.
Michael's former instructor in the EVIT aviation program, Lou Amity, says it's a dream job.
I'm jealous. I don't know what else to say.
Just one more piece of information right here. So here is your magnetic deviation.
The program was relatively new when Michael was in it, but when students take off this coming fall, they'll have a whole new state-of-the-art building, complete with a hangar and an airplane.
The opportunities that these kids are going to have are going to be tenfold of the opportunities that we had. The program's just going to continue to grow and get better.
We're going to introduce the students to all different kinds of aviation subjects, jobs, career opportunities, things like that. Everything from flying to being an aircraft mechanic and air traffic controller.
And another amazing aspect of the program, college credits.
They offer a lot of their classes now for dual enrollment, which, you know, in my profession, in the pilot profession, a lot of aviation professions, seniority matters. So the earlier you can get in just gives you an upper hand.
And they're taking it at a lower tuition rate for the community college, so that saves a lot of money.
A smooth takeoff for students aspiring to be in the aviation industry. Kim Martinez reporting.